Picture this, it's 2 a.m. on a random Friday and you are still trying to fix that bug you got 2 days ago. You feel frustrated, annoyed, and you are regretting your choice to become a software engineer. This is the so-called dream job everyone talks about. But before you jump into this glamorous life, let's take a closer look at what being a software engineer is really like. Spoiler alert, it is not just fancy offices and TT tables. Get ready to hear what no day in the life of a software engineer video will ever show you. So let's get right into the reality of a software engineer's daily routine, minus the corporate secrets, because I don't want to get fired, of course. First, most of our time is spent in front of a screen, but not always doing what you think. Yes, there is coding, but also a lot of other stuff: checking mails, attending endless meetings, writing code, and dealing with bugs. Bugs are every developer's worst nightmare. Some days, it feels like all we do is stare at error messages, praying for a miracle to fix the code. You know you have hit rock bottom when you start talking to your computer like it is going to answer back. Meetings, by the way, are a unique kind of torture. You spend hours listening to people discuss things that could have been summed up in a few sentences. It is a universal truth for anyone who has worked in an office. And if you are not careful, you might find yourself stuck in meetings about meetings. Now, back to coding. First, forget about the Hollywood version where they are hacking into systems, looking super intense with multiple screens. In reality, software engineers have more mundane, everyday tasks like everyone else. They do manual work. Now, I know what you are thinking. Manual work is not everything automated these days. Well, here is the deal. Not everything can be handled by machines. While some tasks are automated, there is still plenty of work that requires a human touch. Now, let's talk about the different type of roles. First, there are front-end developers. They are in charge of everything you see on your screen. Yes, even those fun animations when you hit the subscribe button. Ever wonder how they appear? That's all thanks to a front-end developer who created that effect, likely at 3 a.m., fueled by coffee and tight deadlines. Go ahead, give it a click, hit subscribe, and watch those animations come to life. On the other hand, there are backend developers. They are the ones working behind the scenes, ensuring that everything functions smoothly, like fetching that YouTube video you are watching right now. Think of them as the magicians who keep the internet running. You click, they fetch. Simple, right? Not really. There is a lot of magic going on behind the scenes with databases, servers, and complicated stuff most people don't even think about. But hey, it's not all work, and work. Engineers drink a lot of coffee, take lunch breaks, sometimes stretching them from 1 hour to 1.5 hours, depending on how flexible the company is, and have random chit-chats or sometimes even vent about managers or play TT. So don't imagine yourself glued to a screen for 9 hours straight. Now, if you become a software engineer, you will be working on a specific project, which is a fancy way of saying you will have to solve a programming problem. For example, you might need to create a Python script that automates data entry, or if you are in a healthcare company, you could be developing an app to track patient health metrics. But here is the thing, it's all about solving a specific programming goal. Different companies have different projects. Just because you work at Amazon does not mean you will be creating the next Amazon Prime. You might find yourself working on a side project or developing an internal tool. It is not as glamorous as it sounds. But hey, that's just part of the job. Now let's get into the skills you will need to make it in this field. It's not all about knowing how to code. Sure, that's a big part of it, but to be a great engineer, you need more than just technical skills. First, communication. Yes, you heard that right. Even though engineers often get stereotyped as introverts who don't like talking to people, communication skills are huge in this job. You will need to explain your ideas to your team, write clear reports for managers, and sometimes even present your work to non-tech folks. Imagine trying to explain your latest project to your aunt who barely knows how to use email. If you can make her understand, you are already ahead of the game. Another regular part of your job will be code reviews. This is where your code gets checked by others to make sure it's clean, efficient, and not filled with unnecessary complexity. Imagine you have written a for loop to handle a problem when your teammate points out that recursion would be more efficient here. Now you are not just learning about different approaches to coding, but also about handling feedback constructively. These reviews help you to grow by exposing you to better practices and new ways of thinking. It is like getting a mini lesson every time someone gives you a feedback on your code. Then there's problem solving. Coding is essentially problem solving with a keyword. It's about breaking down big problems into smaller ones, then solving each part step by step. A huge chunk of your day is spent debugging or finding solutions to unexpected issues. Think of it as being a detective, but instead of solving crimes, you are solving code mysteries. Why is not the app working? Why is it crashing on Android? Why won't the database sync? These are the questions that will keep you up at night. And of course, let's not forget patience. Because when your code does not work for the 10th time in a row, you need patience to keep going without throwing your computer out of the window. Coding might seem like a high-speed process in movies, but in reality, a lot of time goes into fixing bugs and dealing with unexpected challenges. Real engineering is a marathon, not a sprint. So now you are thinking, I can do this. I will be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. But hold up, before you think of entering into that world, let's talk about the work-life balance. You might imagine that once you are a software engineer, you will be living the high life, working from fancy offices, grabbing lunch in bean bags, and having tons of free time, right? Well, not always. There is a big myth around tech jobs that everyone has limited free time because of flexible hours. The truth is, flexibility in tech means you choose which 12 hours a day you want to work. Depending on the company or the project, some days will be chill, just bug fixing or refining a feature. But other days, you will find yourself chasing deadlines, working late, and maybe even dealing with all-nighters during big product launches or when something critical breaks. But here is the good news. Remote work is big in tech. You can work from a coffee shop, your couch, or even the beach if you can get a good Wi-Fi connection. Plus, tech companies tend to have a more relaxed dress code. No need for suits and ties. Jeans, a hoodie, and sometimes even pajamas are completely acceptable. Just don't tell your manager I said that. The flexibility can be a huge perk, especially if you value freedom and independence in your work. But remember, it is still a job. There are deadlines, there is pressure, and there are late nights. It's just that tech companies try to make it a little more bearable by letting you do it in sweatpants. So that's the real life of a software engineer. Sure, it is challenging, sometimes exhausting, and often requires you to learn new things on the go. But if you enjoy solving problems, creating things from scratch, and you don't mind a bit of a challenge, it can be incredibly rewarding. And hey, who knows, maybe one day you will be the one creating the next app or platform that millions of people will use. So if you are thinking about becoming a software engineer, go for it. Start learning, keep coding, and remember, it's not all about the technical stuff. It's about great patience and the joy of seeing your work come to life on the screen. And with that, I leave you to make your own choice. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it to your friends. If you have questions or thoughts, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time.